All right, now I'd like to illustrate a few key items about water and salinity. I do apologize for making this in my kitchen and not in the lab, but this was where I had the time. So here, I just take some basic water and add to my glass. And I'll see, if you take a normal egg and put it down, the egg will sink to the bottom. So I take another glass here, add a good dose of sodium chloride and water, and we try to stir it up. Water is a polar molecule. We'll go in and break the ionic balance, and we'll get hopefully some pretty good concentrated salt water. Just go all in to make sure we have enough. Okay, and then we try putting the egg into this salt water, and we'll see that here the egg floats. So hereby I can see that the salt water has a higher density than the fresh water. So here I made a strong concentration of salt water, cold salt water here at the bottom of my jar. And now I'm going to add some warm water to the top. See how it goes. It is of course hard to avoid just some mixing, but hopefully it'll work. So if this is work out right, as I suspected it will, we now have the warm water on top and the salty water on the bottom. But how can I illustrate it? Well, if I take my egg, remember this sinks in fresh water and it floats in salt water. So let's see what happens when we put it here. And now you can see the egg is laying in the middle. So below the egg here, we have the salty water, the cold salty water, and above it we have the warm fresh water. So here we're illustrating one of the invisible borders in the ocean between the cold and salty and the warm and fresh water. Another way that I might be able to illustrate this is by adding a bit of fruit color just to the top of the water, and we'll see if we end up with two separate layers. Indeed we do. So we have a boundary here between the two layers of water. And these invisible boundaries are like the different zones in the ocean, which we're going to talk about later. So the ability of water to separate into different columns, depending on density and salinity, is one of the most important things to understand in marine science. Now it's been like 2 minutes since I added fruit color, and here we can really clearly see the two different layers of the cold and dense water and the warm and less dense water. And the egg is just floating on top of the saline water here.